There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. First of all, I want to introduce Brichelle, but then I have an announcement to make before we continue. Brichelle, welcome to the show. How are you? Well, it's your show. You're the host. What am I talking about?
You know, you created this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And you taught me everything I know, which is pretty amazing. But I'm on fire today, Kevin. You know that. And I'm also very emotional just in the grounding of thankfulness. And, you know, we go through these processes. Kevin watches me be angry for a week and be sad for a week and then be thankful for a week. And I think it's just a reminder that we're all human. So thank you for making all this possible, Kevin. And we do have a guest that is blowing the roof off for our Wednesday. So we've had a great day and I'm thankful to be here to continue it.
Well, and I want to add this, and that is that I had a conversation with somebody that wanted to be on the show, and it was all about them. It was all about what they could do and who they were and the reach that we had and how it was going to benefit them. And I said, I want you to look at it differently. And he said, why, whatever do you mean? And I said, I want you to look at it from the standpoint of what can you bring to our audience that is of value to them, because it is all about the audience. It's not about you or me or our guest today. It's about what we can do collectively to create something for our audience that they can't get anywhere else. And our guest today, her name is Cari Rickabaugh. And when I got on the call or got on the StreamYard just a few minutes ago, and he said, you're one of those. And she actually knew what I meant by you're one of those. And Brichelle, tell her what you've been doing since Monday.
What have I been doing since Monday?
You found out that she was going to be on the show.
Yeah. Yes, Cari, I've waited for you. I saw on Monday that you were a part of our weekly show, and today's been incredibly powerful. Every day is. I just got off our last interview on our show and told Kevin, I don't know what I did to be so blessed and fight through all of these challenges in my life to be here, spending this time with you live on Positive Talk Radio. So thank you so much for being a part of our family, for coming on the show, and for speaking your story that is here to impact our audience, which is exactly what matters, because we need each other around this whole world. So welcome, and how are you today?
Well, first, thank you so much for that acknowledgement. That is so incredibly kind of both of you. Oh, you guys are just amazing. I love being on the show with you guys. I am well. I am so well. I'm just excited, like Kevin said, to be able to share wisdom, thoughts, ideas, whatever, to help everybody out there that we can.
Amen.
And today we are going to talk about trauma and resilience reimagined. I love that term because we all have the capability to be resilient and to rise above our circumstances to get to where we really, I'm going to get on my soapbox now, to get to where we really would like to be and live the life that we were destined to live from the time before we were even born. I know that to be true, but Cari, do you think that's true?
Oh my gosh. It's absolutely true. And I want to add a little caveat in there. It's not a perfect life. And that's what a lot of people think is once they reach that life that they've always aspired to, it's going to be perfect. It's not. You're still going to have struggles and you're still going to have hardships and you're still going to make mistakes. And it is going to be so glorious and wonderful and joyous, and that you just can't even imagine it. You know, I used to hate it when I would hear people say, you know, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I'm like, no. You had something special. You had money in the bank. You had support. You had whatever. And that's what I say now. You guys know a lot of my story. And if I can overcome that and create a life that I never imagined but always wanted, anybody can. Anybody can. It's possible.
But not very many people believe that. Why is that?
Because the norm is that we let what society teaches us of our limitations be what we believe. We let ourselves believe what other people have told us are our limitations, are our faults, are our shortcomings, and we live into that because, again, it's what we're taught. It's what society knows. You know, when I did something as a kid and I was clumsy and somebody said to me, "Oh, you're so clumsy," 30 years I lived with the idea and the belief that I was really clumsy. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's not. Doesn't mean it even matters. But it's hard work. We all have things that we need to be aware of about ourselves to help make little shifts. And it's hard work. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? If money was raining from the sky, nobody would complain about being poor. Nobody would have to try. But society teaches us that life is hard, and it is. But society teaches us that because life is hard, that we can't have, and we just have to decide to think differently.
And we can. You know, I was struck because, not by anything in particular, but I was just struck by the fact that, see, me being a guy, I'm sitting here with two beautiful women. And so my first thought is, these beautiful, they've got nothing to worry about. They've got, they're beautiful, they're smart, they're intelligent, they've got all these things going on. And then Rochelle and I were talking one day, and I went, holy crap, you don't think you're very good or worth it.
Yeah.
and I said, then that was an epiphany for me, because it's like, I mean, she's got everything in the world. She's young. I hate it that she's young. She's young.
Right?
She's attractive. She's smart. She's intelligent. And you're smart and you're intelligent and you're not as young, but you're still younger and stuff. And it was like, it would really, it shocked me, because we don't think in terms of what's going on inside based upon what happens to somebody and the trauma that they experience through life that tells them that they are not who they really are.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that is coming up for me when you said that at the very end, that says, you know, that tells you that you're not who you are. There were times in my life where I would make mistakes. And what I didn't even realize was that I would hear my mother or my sister or an uncle or somebody else's voice in my head telling me, well, see, this proves it. This proves ABC. And it's all of these voices we have. It's all of these thoughts that we have of limitation, of I can't do this because either I haven't done it or I haven't tried to do it. And but when we're babies and we're born, we don't start walking and then get frustrated and say, we're not going to do this. We're not going to, I can't do it. See, I tried to do it. It's not going to work. Right? We're laughing because it's ludicrous, but as adults, we do that. Yep. We look at something and say, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. For whatever reason. I mean, we all have different things that we believe for different reasons. And then we sit back and we believe that that is a wall. That's a barrier. When all we have to do is step into it and believe in ourselves, believe that we can do it, you know, just little shifts in your thinking. I'll give you guys an example. I used to weigh over 400 pounds and I could barely walk, let alone run. And I hated running. And, you know, I had to do it in high school, and I've been out of high school over 30 years. And I'm like, I'm never going to run again. And I got to a point where I'm like, I want to be able to move again. And at over 400 pounds, I started running. And I now am a runner. I'm more of a shuffler, but I run, right? It's not beautiful. It's not gorgeous. I have these little trails that I go through and they're short, and I haven't made it one whole round on this trail without stopping before. And I've been running for over a year, but I'm still a runner. I'm still stepping into it. I'm still doing it. I'm still doing something. And I had to start believing in myself first that, yeah, I can put one foot in front of the other. I can start walking. I can do this. And it's hard. It's hard because every voice in your head inside of you and every feeling inside of you wants to reinstate what you've believed all along to keep you safe. And it kept you safe at one time, but it's not anymore. And now you get to choose what you're going to do. You get to choose if you're going to sit there and do nothing or if you're going to step forward and make miracles.
And Cari, I want to introduce somebody who has chosen to create miracles. And his name is Samuel Burchell.
Yes. Samuel, my favorite man. Hello, brother. He says, hello, greetings. My elder big brother, Kevin, and my sister, Burchell, receive greetings from Kiberia slums in Nairobi. We are watching and listening, taking notes of this favorite program, Positive Talk Radio. It's 1 a.m. there, but listening with his family and his team of 10 strong men who love this program, led by Kennedy Aluch, I believe, and the organization secretary. Say hello to Kiberia Slums, Nairobi, Kenya. We are tuned in. So hello, Samuel. I got your message on Facebook. We love you and we support you in everything you're doing. And thank you for being here and staying tuned and being able to share this and everything that you're learning with the children that you're helping and your team. We're thankful that you are a part of our family. So, Cari, if you'd like to say hi, this is Samuel.
Hey, Samuel. And, I have to tell you that Burchell and Kevin told me a little bit about what you're doing before the show started, and it's incredible. Absolutely. It's amazing. Love what you're doing to help people. Thank you. Thank you for who you're being in that respect.
And, Cari, I can only imagine. I drove a bus in Seattle with a couple of people that grew up in Kenya. One was the son of the leader, of the chief of his village. They had to walk 6 miles to get water. And the women did that every day. But I'm willing to bet that the difference between some people and what Samuel is doing is that he suffered trauma and hunger in his life when he was young. And he made the conscious decision to make a difference. And because he made that that conscious decision, 350 children a day are not going hungry in the slums of Kenya. That is, I can't think of a higher calling than that. And Samuel, my hat's off to you, brother. You are an amazing man, so thank you.
And love you so much.
And Cari, the cool thing is that there are stories like that all over the place. There just aren't enough of them because there are so many people still who are listening to the stories that are going around in their head. Mine belongs to my mother, by the way, that are going around in their head that are not even real.
Yeah.
But we tend to believe they're real because they're so much smarter than me. But that's just not so. And how do you help people? Because you're a coach, and you help how do you get through that state of guck of I'm less than, I can't, I'll never be. How do you get them through that?
That's such a great question, because the first thing you have to do is figure out what those beliefs are. Because there's times where we act and react out of beliefs that we're not even conscious of. And so I'll tell you an example. I have a client right now that I'm working with that she started working with me because of money. She has this hang up with money. She knew that was her hang up. And so she's like, well, I want to get help with this. Tell me your prices. And I told her a couple packages. And she said, that makes me just want to throw it out the window and just not even do this. And I messaged her a little bit later and I said, do you understand the irony of you don't want to spend money to get help with your issue spending money? And she said, she wrote me back later and said, I've been thinking about that all day. And then she goes, okay, let's step into this. So what we started doing was figuring out her beliefs around money. And what are your beliefs about money? What comes up when you think about spending money? And she had all of these beliefs of, I don't have enough, you know, something's going to happen. We're going to lose it all. There's not going to be any in the bank. And I'm like, okay, well, where did these come from? And she started going through these childhood experiences. And we found out that she doesn't really have a fear of money, but she has these fears in her head, and she has these stories in her head and these beliefs in her subconscious that she wasn't even aware of. And that's how her body manifested, is putting it on money and saying, because of money, then I can't have these nice things. Where she had all these beliefs that were like, oh, I'm not a good enough person. This happened when I was a child. I'm a burden. She wasn't even aware of those. So your first step is to find out what the beliefs are, right? And I know for me, when I get angry, it's not anger. It's usually hurt, but it manifests as anger. And so I have to go back, and I had to learn that and then be like, okay, I know that this is hurt. What am I feeling hurt about? And it's a process to learn it. It's not, you know, snap your fingers and it's done. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. But we have to figure out what is causing us to react or respond the way that we do. Because brute force, grit, and strength and determination isn't going to change it, right? You're going to have to get to the core of it and find it and then feel it and be with it and process it and do all of that.
And by the way, we're talking with Cari Rickabaugh. Rochelle, would you like to take us to break? Because I want to talk about integrity.
Yes. And I'm not even going to start storing questions in my notes or in my mind right now, because slowly but surely you're answering all those questions as we're on this break. Everybody listening to this, go and visit resilienceMindandBodyCoaching.com. You can see everything that Cari is working towards helping people of and what she's learned through this time. And when we come back from this break, we'll answer Kevin's question in just a moment. So stay with us.
Here's another point to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. What is the easiest thing to justify? It is a small transgression. The one no one will ever see, no one will ever know. The tiny exaggeration on the expense report. The extra minute you took on your lunch break. The packaging you tossed in the wrong recycle bin because it was closer. In those moments, the question isn't, will I get caught? The question is, will I know? It isn't about avoiding punishment. It's a silent agreement you make with yourself when you choose to do the right thing. To return the wallet. To fix the mistake. To respect the empty space. You aren't impressing the world. You're earning your own respect. That small choice, made entirely in private, is how you build a life you never have to look away from. The only audience that matters is you. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Rochelle. She's right there. And my name is Kevin McDonald. And Cari Rickabaugh is with us. And Cari, I got to ask you, if you treat yourself like you really mean it and have integrity about everything that you do, and it isn't about anybody else, it's about what you do, and it's being kind to yourself about these things, isn't that at least helpful in teaching you how to live a better life for yourself?
Yeah. I'm convinced, and this, I don't even know if there's studies on this or anything, but I'm convinced that we look for patterns, especially those of us who have ADHD. We look for patterns, and patterns we do. And I think we're taught to look for a pattern of, well, that proves that I'm right, that I'm not good enough. And if you can stand up and start doing things for yourself, doesn't matter about anybody else, then you can start breaking some of those patterns and start believing that, oh, I am a good person. Oh, I do have some worth. You know, as a society, we are so concerned about what everybody else thinks about us, looking in at what we're doing. And I'm like, nobody else is watching you because they're worried about what everybody else is thinking about them. Right? Nobody's really watching each other. It's what we do when nobody else is watching that makes a difference. It's the decisions we make to be a good person or to have a little bit more integrity, or like the advertisement said, return the wallet. And it provides proof of things that we may not have believed about ourselves before. And that's an amazing foundation to start with, Kevin. I loved that ad.
And it's not about impressing anybody else but yourself.
No, not at all. Not at
Because
all.
if you, as an example, we'll take the wallet as an example, and I've seen this happen many times. People will pick up a wallet that has dropped out of somebody's pocket, and they'll look in it and they'll see money. And so they'll take the money, and then they may give the wallet to somebody, or they may not. They may just leave it there, but they've taken the money. The energy behind that action can hurt somebody and hurt your integrity for a very long time, long after the money's been spent. Rochelle, do you agree with that?
100%. Kevin, my mind is, I know I've said this all day. One of the first things I woke up and said, I looked at my aunt straight in the face. I said, I think I'm losing my mind in real time in front of you. But, Cari, the only thing that I can think about that is racing through my mind out of everything that we keep talking about, and it leads to what Kevin was saying about who you are and how you feel about yourself, knowing that you have a choice. You mentioned that. You recognized, well, I can put one foot in front of the other, let alone I'm going to do it. And not a damn soul's going to stop me. What was it like when that shift was being created, where you were fighting all those voices, but you were also doing it for yourself? Like, how was that? Like, people, there's got to be more than me that was wondering, how did that feel, and what was going through your mind to back up what you were doing, but also give grace to everything you thought you knew before, rather than being angry? Because I tell you, Cari, I'm like kind of the same way. I realized that when I get angry, I'm sad. When it comes down to it, if you get me to my bottom line, all I'm going to do is cry. I woke up doing the same thing today. I was hurt by something, and then I stopped. This last show made me realize that didn't make me angry. It hurt me. And tracking that back. So what was it like through that process of giving yourself love and grace, but also turning against everything you knew?
What I would like to say is that it was freeing, and it was liberating, and it was enthusiastic, and it was, however, at first it was terrifying. It was terrifying to do something different. We as humans love to stay in the familiar. No matter how crappy or horrible it is, we'd rather stay in the familiar than step into the light that's unfamiliar. And so it was terrifying to make that choice and to give myself grace and say, it's okay to do something different, Cari, because it's going to feel off. It's going to feel strange. There's so many different ways that it can feel, but it's going to feel unfamiliar. And you're not comfortable with unfamiliar. We're not comfortable with unfamiliar because we like to know what's going to happen. We like to know what's going to happen. And as soon as I made these choices, like, I didn't even physically step into them. I had to make them in my head to make the choice of, okay, I'm going to think something different. And then my brain automatically started to go back to the, what I would ruminate about. And then I had to just stop myself and it's okay, Cari, I can choose something different. And then my brain would go back. And it's a process, but eventually it becomes a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. And And then you can physically take steps forward and say, I'm going to do this instead of what I'm used to doing. I'm going to step into this, or I'm going to lean into the situation, or I'm going to, but it's scary. I mean, my motto for this year was do it scared, because at least you're doing it, and I say, do it tired, do it anxious, do it trepidatiously, do it exhausted, do it scared, because fear isn't anything to fear. It truly isn't. If I go back as an example to this client I have who I'm coaching about money, I literally, the first 2 sessions we had, I said, what are all of, like, if you had to give me like sentences or words, trigger words for money that bring this up, anxiety up in you, what are they? And she's like, the bank account is empty, my husband lost his job, all of these little phrases. And so we then, after I wrote them all down, and we spent the next 5 minutes, and I said, you're going to sit right there and I'm going to tell you all of these. And I just said them to her one after another, after another, after another. And she just sat there in such anxiety. And we sat there until the feeling was felt all the way through. And then I said, what happened to you? What's happened? And she said, nothing. And I'm like, yeah. The fear is that something's going to happen. And most of the time, nothing happens, because you're just scared of what might happen. And I said, nothing has happened. Your husband still has his job. You still have money in the account. You still have your job. Nothing has changed, even though those feelings came up and you felt those feelings. But those feelings just want to be felt. And so if you can step into something scared and you can feel the feelings and still step through it, it teaches your body that, hey, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to do something new. And that doesn't mean something terrible is going to happen. Something great might happen.
Yeah.
And if
I can say that from what I've experienced here. Kevin, one of the things he told me that I'm realizing now shifted a lot of things within me. He said, just do it.
Yeah.
And we hear the Nike saying, just do it, whatever. But when I came into this, I had no idea what I was doing. I watched the first few shows that I did. I was afraid. But Kevin told me, Kevin, you have to remember this conversation. I don't know if you do. I think it was right when you started to introduce me more to, hey, Berchelle, do it. And I told him, I'm afraid, and I'm this, and I'm that. And maybe that's where his experience of realization of why, like, I don't see what she sees, and I don't understand that. But I can also be a bridge to help gap that and teach that. And Kevin told me, just do it. Do you remember that, Kevin?
Oh, yeah.
You literally just said, do it. And look at me.
Cari, she was so much fun, because she was like, I don't know. I don't think I can. I don't, but what if I make a mistake? And it's like, you can't make a mistake. It's not allowed. You can't. It's the universe talking. It's going to be perfect. Whatever it is, it's going to be just perfect. Oh, but it's not good. What if people see me? What if they don't like? What if I have snot hanging out my nose? What am I going to do about all that?
You just said that, the what if. Because Kevin helped me shift the what if from a negative to a positive, because I took action. That's what he told me. Just do it. And the action in that was, I'm sitting right here. I'm doing this. I'm alive, and I'm learning, and I'm speaking, and I'm now comfortable, and I'm open, and I'm vulnerable. And Kevin, do you remember ever going through that? Like, please tell me you did.
When I first started doing this, way back in 2003, and I was on the radio in Seattle, and I remember the first day doing it, I had no idea if I was any good. I went through months, literally, but I was so committed to the process and knowing that this is what I was here to do, because I'd had that discussion with, and stuff, and I've had that discussion with my guides and others, and so I pushed through it. And then when one of my team members came to me and said, I don't know how you do this. And I said, well, do what? She said, every time you're interviewing somebody, I'll think of a question, and then you'll ask that question. How does that work? And I say, I don't know. I'm just, and so it's a process. Everything, Cari, isn't life a process when you are decide? And by the way, when you were talking to your gal about the money issues, and she said, "What if my husband loses his job?" The counter argument would be, now he's going to be free to get the job he really wants.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And it's teaching, it's not only teaching your brain, it's teaching your nervous system. Because Brichelle, you're like, what, you don't even think about what would happen if you do it. It's just, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then your body learns, oh, I'm still alive. Nothing has changed. Okay. I'm still have the car. I'm going to go to the same house. Like nothing changes. I did the same thing when I started doing a podcast and it was live, and I couldn't even, it was for a group that I couldn't even anonymously click a button to join the Facebook group for 3 months. And I had to have somebody bring me into the group. And then they're like 3 months later, hey, do you want to do this live interviewing thing? And I'm like, okay. And, 2 years later, I've got this whole podcast. I'm on other people's podcasts. I'm speaking on stages, but it was terrifying. But I had to choose, hey, it's okay to do things scared. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be scared while you're doing something. There is no right or wrong about it. There's just it doesn't serve you if you don't do anything. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to change.
And Cari, we need to take this quick break. And Brichelle's got a question that she's is dying to ask you on the other side. But from my perspective now, being where I am, if it doesn't scare you, it's not worth doing. Yeah. Because you're not reaching. You're not working at it enough. So scare yourself. It's kind of fun. Halloween's coming up. Scare yourself. It'll be fun. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDowell. We're having a hell of a good time today, I got to tell you. And Brichelle is here, and Cari Rickabaugh is here, and I was going to ask a really intelligent question, and I totally spaced it. So, Brichelle, go ahead.
Well, I believe in you, Kevin. You will remember that question. Cari, there's like 100 things going through my brain. I know I've already said that, but I'm one of those people who thinks about the if, ands, and always. But in the situation of you to accept your fear, but do it with grace, is something that I still don't understand. But I do it, and it works. And Kevin tells me every single day, just keep doing what you're doing, child. And I found myself passing on what I'm learning to others and watching them learn without me really doing anything. And I think about how your circumstances changed and how your inner self, the way you talk to yourself, completely changed and how important that is. But when you come to the space of I can, it's a whole different thing, because it's are you going to or are you not, right? And you talk about doing it afraid, but as you do that, it teaches you almost, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but did it teach you to kind of use that in other ways of your life and other things that you had that were just kind of going through your head, just that you weren't really aware of, and it shifted you, but also your reality and how you saw what was in front of you, in the sense of being afraid of it, but allowing that, because that's we just talked about this on the last show, and I'm huge about allowing right now, because it's like, okay, Rochelle, well, this is happening. You have to allow it. You can't control it. And that sense of allowness is hard, as we mentioned. Like, nothing is easy. I hate when people say, oh, it's just going to be a breathtaking experience, but it gets so heavy before it gets easier, and your whole life shifted just because you allowed yourself to maybe question and face head on what you were afraid of, to turn that into something that was your superpower, right?
Yeah, for me, I was just tired of living the same crappy negative life I was living, and I wanted to do something different. And that's where a coach for me came in handy, because if I hadn't had somebody there, like, metaphorically holding my hand through everything, I wouldn't have had the strength to do it. I wouldn't have had the belief in myself to do it. And there were times that I did things that were terrifying for me, that I relied on other people's belief in me. And I'm like, well, Tony thinks I can do it, so maybe I can do it. Or I don't know how to do this. Let me talk to Dave. We talked about my coach Dave, my first coach, on the last show. Incredible man. And I would call up Dave and I'd be like, Dave, I'm terrified. I don't know what to do. And he's just, take a breath. Let's get to the core of this. Where's the fear? What is it that you're afraid of? But it's this, I don't know how to explain. It's a feeling that you get when you start to take a step and do something thought-wise, physically, whatever, that you've never done before, that you didn't know was different. And it's addicting. And it's like this, you get a natural high and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I can do something where I always thought I couldn't before. Maybe I can be different. I didn't ever think, I didn't know for 45 years that I had a choice. I could make a choice in my life to do anything. I thought I was just a victim, and I was a victim of my circumstances when I was a child, and I couldn't change anything because I didn't believe I could. And I had somebody else that was like, yeah, you can. Yeah. And just kept repeating and walking me through things. And I finally was like, well, maybe I can if they believe I can. And then as you start stepping forward, you're like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can do this. And, oh, I want to have grace for myself in the situation. Okay, let's figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And
even a step past that is more impactful, because now you're helping other people do the same thing, and you went through it. So
people need people who know what they're going through, period. People need people, especially people who have been through extreme, massive trauma. They need people to know what they're going through. And so many people, I spoke last time about how I had been on stage and spoke part of my story in January. And all these women kept coming up to me for the next day and a half saying, I've never met anybody else who's had a childhood like mine. And I'm like, yeah, you have. There's a ton of us out there, but nobody ever talks about it. And so people think they're alone and they have to carry that, and nobody knows what they feel like, and they're going to be a burden. And us opening up, people opening up, saying, this is my story. This is what I've been through. Like, I have been to hell and back multiple times, and this is what has come out of it. Because it doesn't matter what happened to me in the past. It gives me an understanding, but it doesn't define who I am. It was what I went through. And I get to make the choice of if I'm going to do something different with my life or not. I have a couple of sticky notes underneath my monitors at work that I have little quotes on them, and I have them there so that every time I see them, I'll repeat them and they'll get stuck in my brain. And one of them is, growth begins where comfort ends. We have to step out of our comfort zone and do something new to grow and to start believing that we can. And the other one is that I do fearful things fearlessly. And fearlessly has kind of gotten a warped definition by society. Being fearless doesn't mean you have no fear. It's not fear-free. It's fearless. And so if I'm scared about something and I decide I'm going to do it anyway, it drops a little bit of that fear. And so I step into fearful things fearlessly. And I'm still scared, but I still do them. And I know people who have been doing this kind of work on themselves for decades. I know people who make 7-8 figures teaching this kind of stuff. And they will tell you, I still get scared sometimes when I'm calling somebody and tell them I want to coach them. I still have this issue with my wife where I burn the fries and then I automatically have this dialogue in my head that she's judging me for this and then she's upset and oh my gosh, I was trying my best. And then I have to like wrap myself around and be like, she just asked me what happened to the fries. You know, it never fully goes away, but wow, it's freeing. It's so freeing.
Oh yeah, it is.
And that's what really the essence of life is about.
Yes.
Is to be free and to live the life that you choose to live. And that means that when that little voice in your head that says, hey, are you going to write that book now? You need to honor that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me put it another way. You don't need to do anything, but if you choose to honor that, that is, you're giving yourself permission to do something you've never done before. And, you know, Cari, some of these things can be decisions that we have to make that are fairly horrific. One of which would be leaving a relationship that doesn't serve you and having the intestinal fortitude to be able to make that happen and to believe in yourself enough. That's why a coach is really so helpful, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are nobody's ever as hard on us as we are. We're the hardest on ourselves. And we aren't able to see things sometimes because we are so hard on ourselves. But people who look in and can see your spirit, can see your genuineness, can see your integrity, where you're nitpicking every little thing that makes you a bad person. And they're like, do you not see all the good you're doing? It you know, that outside perspective. I've had Dave Orton, anybody. He's from Idaho. Look him up if you guys want to speak to the most positive person you've ever met in your life. And it's genuine because he used to not be that person. And he had to decide to be who he is now. And he has changed completely. And he was just like, do you not see all these things that you do? And I'm like, yeah, but I farted in public. And he's like, but you serve people, you know, just dumb things. That he's like, why are you holding that over yourself? And I'm like, I don't know. It's
Kevin asks me that all the time, Cari, and it's he confronts me. I'll say something, and then he's like, but why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I feel it, and now I'm mad. You know?
It's just the habitual. We do what we know, and let's get comfortable being uncomfortable and do things we don't know, and give ourselves permission to suck at it. It's okay. Just because I stepped into running, I am never going to be this amazing runner, and I'm fully aware of that, and I'm okay with it. I still go out and run in public.
However, you are an amazing speaker.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
I
that
won't run
is
for you because I can't breathe, but maybe we'll get Kevin doing that.
You know, but the thing is always to make sure that you, I get the biggest kick out of that one up there, Brichelle, because she, and how many times have I told you, you have no earthly idea what you're capable of.
Probably every day. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna figure it out, right? I question myself, and I'd love to share this before we go to break. Kevin has made this just as important as it was to me in the moment, and I shared this with you, Cari, for audiences listening, is sometimes when you catch yourself going through those things and working on those things, you say things, and you find yourself and you're like, whoa, that's me. That is me. I am doing that. I'm creating that. And your subconscious kicks in sometimes. And I want to share this with everybody because I was the most negative, angry person you could probably meet until I was maybe 2 years ago when I started with Kevin. And I got a coach. And that's what brought us together in this world, because I was just an angry child. I growled at people and I would spit on you just because you were talking to me. And now I've come to a point, Cari, that I shared with you and Kevin, and I want everybody to hear this, that sometimes you show through yourself more than you realized was there. And those are the moments when you meet yourself and you get to show that grace, you get to show that love, and you're like, oh, wait, hold on, I am doing it. And that moment feels good. And sometimes all it takes is putting one foot in front of the other and saying, well, even if I'm scared, even if I am tired, even if I'm all the things, I'm going to do it anyway. So I looked in the mirror earlier and I told myself this. And then I wrote it down because, oh my gosh, who am I? But I said, if I didn't go through that hell, I wouldn't have seen the heaven I live in. And when we come back, Cari, I want to talk about how that's been for you. Is you saw yourself as your life and everything. Oh, well, this is just hell. Everything's hard and it sucks. And this is my circumstance. But then you shifted and you saw that you were living in a heaven you didn't even know was there because you were unaware of it. And you just had to learn along the way. So I'd love to touch base on what that was like for you, and maybe to help our audience take some tools and some tips from you on exactly how you did that, to see that you could create heaven out of hell. And you weren't necessarily responsible for the whole thing. So Kevin, I'll let you take us to break.
And one of the things that I think is important for yourself is to turn your circumstances around and learn to be kind to other people. And we'll be right back. The strength of staying kind from your friends at Positive Talk Radio. Kindness is not weakness. It takes real strength to stay kind in a world that often rewards anger, ego, and control. Being kind means choosing to act from your values, not your wounds. It means showing grace even when no one's watching. But kindness doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people take advantage of your time, your energy, or your peace. You can be kind and still say no. You have a soft heart with firm boundaries. The strongest people I know are the ones who choose compassion without losing themselves. They've been hurt. They've been tested. And still, they choose to love and lead and to lift others anyway. Kindness is not about pleasing everybody. It's about honoring who you are and how you treat others, even when it's hard. So stay kind, stay human, and stay strong. And always remember this: be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Cari Rickabaugh. She is here. That's her. That's the one. She's one of those, is what I said. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really mean that, because I want everybody to think about this. There was a time when she was on a couch and she was weighing 400 pounds. She had a decision to make. She could continue doing that until her heart gave out, or she could decide not to do that and to live. And thank God that you made the decision to live, because this world needs you and more people like you. Thank you for being who you are.
Thank you, Kevin. Truly. Thank you. Thank you guys both, man. I love being here and sharing the energy with you guys, because I always take something out of my conversations with you. It makes me stop and think of, where am I still holding on to some of these old beliefs? Where am I still holding on to some of these walls and building these walls for myself? There was something in that ad that just played that I wanted to repeat, if it's okay.
Please.
You said choosing to act from your values, not your wounds.
I said that?
You said that in that ad. Yeah.
Damn, I had no idea. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, it's like the same thing how Kevin is able to help me and the way you're able to help other people. Doesn't that just like when you look back and you recognize the moment you made that decision and you like, are you just flabbergasted by the way that where that one decision brought you to being here with us now and helping other people?
And I will be straightforward. That decision did not come from inner strength from me to begin with. It came from, I was 24 hours away from ending my own life. And a friend who did not know this had this very strong feeling that he needed to call me and he needed to connect me with Dave. And I fought him and fought him and fought him. And he was just like, please, 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 please. I don't know why, but I just want you to talk to this guy 4 times. And I'm like, he's not. Like, why? And he broke down barrier. I mean, we had known each other for like 23 years at that point. So he knew exactly the excuses I was going to give him. And he broke them down before I ever did them. He's like, I already took care of that. I already took care of that. I already took care of that. And he didn't find out till about 5 months later that the goodbye letters were written and addressed and stamped and on the counter. And I was hoping whoever found me would put them in the mail. And I said, you saved my life that night. And I had to, it was his belief in me that held me until I was strong enough to believe in myself. And so I want to be that for other people because I know what it's like to live for 4.5 decades being absolutely miserable and thinking that you have no worth and wondering why you're so broken and why you're on this planet and why therapist after friend after nobody can help you. It didn't work until I found the person who knew who had the skills to work techniques that worked with my brain, because all of our brains process things differently. And so sometimes we have to lean on other people. And I will never say that I'm grateful for what I went through. What I went through for 35 years was horrific. However, I am grateful that I went through things so difficult that I now can be that support for other people because I understand that depth of self-hatred and just sorrow that people go through. And I want them to see and I want them to have hope that they can have a different life, that things can be different. And it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But there are people out there who want to help you. There are people out there who are willing to help you, are waiting for somebody to come to them so that they can share their experiences and their talents with you so that you don't feel so alone.
Oh, it makes me want to hug Kevin because I'm like, you're so close, but you're so far away. Damn it! And it took that, Cari, because we keep running out of time, and it's gonna make me like blow my head off. But it was that moment where like I leaned on Kevin, but then I realized he wanted to help, and I was like, whoa, hold up, like why? You don't know how complicated I am and you don't know what I've gone through, but to see the soul inside of somebody and you're helping people find themselves. You're helping them recognize that the life that they lived in is not necessarily who they are, let alone having the choice to do that, but the courage to be curious. And Kevin challenged me the same way as you're doing with other people. And that's why this platform exists. And that's why you're here. That's why you lived through what you lived through and how you're able to give that off. I don't know where this is coming from. Apparently I'm like really smart today. But when I leaned on Kevin and I realized that maybe he's been through these things too. And that's why he's able to see it in me. And what that is like for you when you see somebody. Do you have anybody that comes to you and they're like, Cari, oh my gosh, I understand what you said. Like, and it made no sense and actually made me mad when you told me that. But now I see that because I've found myself. What does that feel like for you to be that person for them?
It's humbling. It's incredibly humbling because if my story can help anybody, even just one person, it's worth it if they can learn that they don't have to live in the same kind of pain that I lived in, right? Like you asked about, techniques, resources, anything after the break. And the first thing I would say is find a tribe of people who express unconditional love. And I didn't think that was a real thing, but it is. It's true. I mean, there's people out there who love you who don't even know you. We can hate people for no reason, we can love people for no reason. And there's people out there that will love you just because you are. You don't have to prove yourself to them. You don't have to be worthy. You already are. And so find a tribe and find people who can see that soul in you, who can see that goodness in you when you can't see it, and lean on that if you need to for a little bit. And start there, Start
And
there.
and Cari, you just did another bumper sticker moment.
Good job, Kevin. I'm so glad you said that. That was running through my head and you just said it. That's how you know we're connected.
Love for no reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an
With
incredible
no
thing.
expectation, though. That's what you said, Cari. It's when you do it for yourself and it comes back, it's different, right?
It is. It's humbling. It's not the sense of arrogance. It's the sense of gratitude that you have been placed in somebody's life to be able to help them be different than they've been if they've been miserable. It's incredible. I think that's just how humans are built, are to help each other, because we understand the darkness and the depths that everyone goes through to whatever level. I felt that I had hit rock bottom so many times, and then every time I'd find out my rock bottom had a basement, and I'm like, how much lower can I go? How much lower can I go? But then I found people who were like, hey, we're gonna help you. I had friends that I met, and I was trying to, I would self-sabotage, and I would write a messages and be like, you haven't messaged me in a week, so apparently you don't want to have anything to do with me, and so I'm giving you permission. And they're like, no, I'm not gonna walk away from you. I love you,
Girl, we love you.
Yeah. So it's
like, wait, what?
And that was a year and a half ago that I did that with one particular person, and he and I are actually going to be on a podcast together later this week. And he's just like, man, I've been on his podcast, and he's like, I wasn't going to let you push me away. I loved you. I didn't even know you that well, but why wouldn't I love you? I'm like, I don't know. It's
Why
And
wouldn't
that's another bumper sticker, by the way. My
You're
rock
good
bottom
at this, Cari.
basement.
Well, I remember what's crazy of you saying that, Cari. I want to share all of everything, ways for people to be in touch with you and leave you with a message. But Kevin said that to me is, why wouldn't I? And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, you want the list? Like, I'll type it out for you. I'll send it to you. You can share it, But all those things were taken down because of the why wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
And you are a living representation of exactly why you did that with yourself. And well, why don't I love me? And we focus on the outside, but inside of you is the world, everything that is possible. Literally, you just get to decide that on a blink of an eye. So I want to say thank you so much, Cari, for spending this time with us. Everybody, we've been talking with Cari Rickabaugh and Kevin McDonald. He's so special. We love him. And go to her website, which is Resilience, Mind, and Body Coaching. As she said, sometimes it takes a coach and somebody to lean on that will just hear you out and love you for exactly who you are. And we all need that. That's how me and Kevin came into contact with each other, because we both opened that door. So thank you for being here, Cari. I want you to share any ways that people can get in touch with you, anything you have coming up, and a message before we go. And then, Kevin, I'll let you say our goodbyes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Rochelle. I'm on most platforms. You can find me under my name or Resilience, Mind and Body Coaching. I do coaching and massage and energy work, so it's a full holistic healing. So you can find me on YouTube and Instagram. If you go to Linktree /Resilience, Mind and Body Coaching, that'll have the link to my book that'll have, access to all my platforms. You'll see everything right there. So yeah, just reach out.
And the name of your book, Cari.
Oh, I was in a book. It's right here. It's called A Journey of Riches. And that's this series. And then ours was Unlocking Your Hidden Potential.
Beautiful.
So yeah, amazing, amazing book. 13 different authors, personal stories of all of them of resilience and finding potential. Incredible. I can't promote it enough. And then, yeah, I reach out. We can have a conversation. I don't have to be your coach. I don't have to coach you, but just reach out if you need someone to talk to, or you have questions, or you want to know how to do this. Just reach out. Just reach out. Find me. So, and I'm going to say one more thing before you speak. The love you, Kevin. The thing I'm going to leave you guys with, and it's the same thing I left you guys with before, was do it scared. Okay? Do it scared.
Amen.
And I want to just say this, that you are a sensational human being, and thank you for being who you are. And I want to compliment Rochelle, because it doesn't matter what I say to her. It doesn't matter how much I believe in her. Her belief in herself continues to grow, and that is what is changing her world. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about her. Wouldn't you agree, Rochelle?
No, not completely. I give you credit because I honor those who have helped me find myself. And Cari, please come back. Yes?
I would love to.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good.
No, you must.
And thank you, Kevin.
No, thank you. And you've been listening to Positive Talk. We've gone over time, and Demi's going to have to cut a little bit of it, but we'll figure it out. And Cari, I think the world of you. You're just an amazing human being, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
The world needs you, so take care. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.